$1,723.28. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the check register for the operating account in the amount of $690,089.80 for checks numbered 027028 to 027154. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the special accounts check register for the month of October 2018 as per the statement circulated to council.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the visa statement expenditure for the period July 28th to August 27th, 2018 in the amount of $1,214.10. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the visa statement expenditure for the period August 28th to September 27th, 2018 in the amount of $200.06. So moved.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Deputy Mayor, any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the renewal of loan number 98-09554, WNSBCF loan for Patterson Drive project at the fixed rate of 4.05% interest for the remaining 5 years of the loan.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? Is a renewal of the loan? Yes. Okay. Thank you. All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the appointment of Mr. Tom Strickland and the town's commissioner for, I guess as the town's commissioner for the annual tax assessment appeal process.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second by Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the 2017 financial statements as per the audit conducted by Byron Smith Accountant.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved a business tax adjustment of $1,116.90 to account number BARRY004. Notification was received that the business ceased operation on September 28th, 2018.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved a property adjustment of $204.19 to account WRFP001. The owner of combined properties June 1st, 2018.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Collins Power. All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the expenditure of $1,200 plus HST for the repair of 3 ladders on the Orphan Drive wave wall.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions?
Just a comment, even though I guess we're approving this money, we are still chasing down some money to the insurance company for the vehicle actually hit the wave also. We are trying to chase down some insurance that will cover some of the costs, but right now we're approving.
So council is looking to recover the costs associated, but in light of the safety aspect features that we're going to initiate the repair.
Through our insurance or?
We're going to do it ourselves, right? And we're going to look to recover from the incident from the measures as possible. Is that correct?
Correct, exactly.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the annual tax recovery plan presented by the acting CAO in compliance with the Department of Municipal Affairs and Environment's requirement to receive provincial government assistance.
Moved by Councillor Speed, second. Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve the contribution of $100 to the Trinity Conception Placentia Health Foundation as per past practice.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve the expenditure of $3,406 plus HST to Woodmark Contracting for backhaul rental per the standing offer to complete work under the Department of Transportation and Town of Placentia Maintenance Agreement.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
That council approve the expenditure of $1,600 plus HST to King Process Technology for installation of 2 sensors, one in Dunville Water Treatment Plant and one at the Clark's Pond Pump House.
Moved by Councillor Smith, second by Deputy Mayor. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried. So the sensors for the chlorine detection in pump houses now are all satisfactory. Thank you.
Mr. Report.
This report. Any other questions for the Finance Committee? We'll move right along to the Public Works Committee report.
Mine are a little bit longer. So, Public Works met on October 9th. Committee members was myself, Councillor Hines, and Councillor Collins. Staff members was Public Works Superintendent Mr. Green, and recorder was Mrs. Garrett. Public Works made the following recommendations. The council approved the application from Wayne and Glenda Collins to construct a new residence at number 41 Kings Lane, Southeast. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Wayne Collins to construct a new residence at number 25 Kings Lane, Southeast. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application for Gerard Raleigh to construct a new residence at number 3-5 2nd Street, Freshwater. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Cecilia and Brenda McFarland to rebuild the residence at number 1205 Main Road, Dunville, with the stipulation that the building to be constructed on the existing foundation. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Quinton Shade to construct a storage shed at number 998-1000 Main Road, Dunville, with the stipulation that the finished materials be the same as the primary residence. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Andy Chung to construct a personal use garage at number 319-325 Sally's Road, with the stipulation that the finished materials be the same as the primary residence. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Robert O'Keefe to construct a personal use garage at number 20 Freshwater Crescent, with the approval of the property owner, with the stipulation that the finished materials be the same as the primary residence. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried. The deputy is this the application not from the property owner?
So what it is, it's I guess the person that lives there, their parents, he put it in, but it's their parents, so just want to make sure that they're okay with it.
Okay, right.
That's all.
Again, if there's development out there, we got to acknowledge that just the developer, the owner of the property is there.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
The council approved the application from Matthew J. Griffin to construct a barn at number 65 Old Settlement Hill, Freshwater. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favour? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Ivan Newhook to construct a personal use garage at number 1071 Main Road, Dunville.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from David Mayer to extend the existing building at number 745-759 Main Road, Dunville, the former Torre Chalet building.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Collins Power. All in favor? Motion carried.
Council approved the application from Bay Auto Sales Service to construct a storage shed at number 77A Blockhouse Road, Placentia, pending approval from the property owner.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions?
Just to let you know, something similar to last one, this property is being rented, so we're gonna make sure that the owner of the property is the same as the door.
You need to develop like that here. Yes, it's important that we do have the property owner sign out the application. Call for question. All in favor? Motion carried.
The council approved the signage application from Philip A. Mead, providing that the sign is contained within the port of Argentia Sign Park. If it is outside the approved sign park, the resident must make application for a permit from the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor. Second, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions?
Where is the Port of Virginia sign park, which,
If you go down past the ballet building and you keep going past the ballet building towards the Husky site, that intersection in the road before you go back to Harvey's, the AMA has designated that corner lot there as a sign for business to establish their existence or presidency in the section. Okay.
I think that's a question, just regard to that, when it comes to those signs, the AMA will, or the Port of Argentia will keep in mind that, because I did see that sign, the one for those cafe. So if there's a bunch of signs going there, that'll make sure it's not impeding traffic or people can.
Yes, and obviously it has to come for a permit that it's been identified as that area, but they still have to come to town extension for a permit to be erected.
And they'll have to identify where the sign's gonna go, I guess, on that.
It just be
Sure,
that
either way,
section,
yeah.
right? Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
The council approved standing offer for mechanic pricing as received and circulated to council. Pricing for required work over $1,000 that was not needed by local mechanics garages will be submitted to finance for pre-approval before work is authorized. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
The council approved the application to install 2 anchors to provide service to the new cottage owned by Jerry Keeping on Southeast Road near Dunville. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Collins Power. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carries.
Number 15, the council approved the application to install 1 pole to provide service to a new garage owned by Craig Brooks in Southeast. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Call for the question. All in favor? Motion carried.
The council approved the application for a vendor permit from Stacy Sue and Hancock to operate a home-based mobile massage therapy business. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Smith. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
The council approved the application for a permit to sell tickets at Placentia Mall under 16 girls Eastern Canadian Fast Pitch Team. So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
The council approved the application from Intersect Inc. to occupy building 772 at 104B Charter Avenue, Argentia, pending approval from all our government agencies. The permit should stipulate that the material is to be stored and or shipped in the sealed proper container. So moved.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? Is this the one that we spoke with before, would be as outlined by the MSD?
Yeah, that's in the next, if you see the next one, that probably should also apply to the one before it. See in the next
Okay,
motion.
so can we
So
add there
material-
with the mover and the seconder to make sure that the storage and handling of these chemicals is in accordance with MSDS sheets of the products being stored? Is that acceptable to the
Yeah, so
mover?
we got material sheets that, we'll do the next one, that's one, yeah.
but I agree to put it in this same
Yes.
motion.
Yes.
And the second one, okay? Okay, any other questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
And just the reasoning why we would put that in there, if anybody's been down around Argentia, there's a lot of white power around the outside of buildings. I know there's, like, out, and you wonder why is this happening? There's some soda ash and that around, so we're trying to make sure that that's all contained. In the original permit, that was what we taken care of. We're just making sure we tighten things up right around this time.
The permit is going to state that it has to be stored in compliance and handled in compliance with the MSDH sheets, which is related to the product. And the safe handling and storage of the same. Council will be monitoring to ensure that that is indeed being carried out. Okay, thank you.
The council approved the application to intersect into occupied building 724 on Bog Avenue, Argentia, pending approval from all our government agencies. The permit should stipulate that the material be stored and or shipped in sealed or proper containers. Material safety data sheets are requested from the applicant to ensure it's being handled properly.
Moved by Deputy Mayor, second. Councillor Fitzpatrick. Any questions? All in favor? Motion carried.
There's some other things there. There was a request for approval in principle for a piece of land in Ferndale, 123-139. That was actually deferred, looking at some other government approval from government services for that can actually start, because there is some questioning where it is on the highway and coming off the highway with regards to safety and on a turn and that. And there were some issues with SP property before, so that was deferred. There was also some deferred for application for a fence based on the surveys, 2 different surveys we received with overlapping surveys and stuff, just to make sure that is cleared up before anything is issued. Argentia Camp Services Phase 2. That right now we're looking for more information with regards to that. There's apartments in Dunville that we're looking for fire approvals on before we issue anything on that, and government service approvals also. We talked about the wave wall, also we're looking at the ladders and also some of the intakes, making sure they're due. We're looking at getting some of that stuff done. There was some talk about the water supply and the, we talked about the ponds and stuff, connecting Barnes Pond, Bell Pond, and making sure they're connected properly and water being able to flow in. We might also possibly taking some water out of our water supply for the graving dock. Right now, there's a work order system in place for public works, and that's being taken care of by our superintendent and other employees overseeing it, and to all accounts, that's going pretty good. We'll get a further update on that next month. It's just in the early stages. As you can see, this last meeting, today we had a lot of permits, and sometimes that takes up a lot of the meetings and discussions, so we might do break up a couple of sessions per month to deal with permits and also deal with other issues, so it's not 3-hour meetings. And actually, you'll give the time to address the situations that you don't run out of time toward the end, you don't reach everything, it's not rushed. The pump house directives are taken care of. Unauthorized water services being used, or people got to comply to the town's water and sewer within the town, and there's guidelines with that. They just can't hook it up to at their will and use it. So there was some dealings with that. And there were some pothole complaints that was dealt with on Jersey Hill. We done that through the DOT, and that's the Department of Transportation grant. Fleet winterizing, now the vehicles are being done and checked before the winter season and taken care of. I think everything is looking pretty good there. The dugouts in Dunville have been completed and were used the past weekend. Unfortunately, we didn't have heaters in them for the ball players. I think it was a cold weekend and cold nights, they're up playing ball. The maintenance work on the DOT program, the money received, it's going a long way. There's quite a bit of work done. I know there's a lot of brush cutting in Southeast. Going along the road, it took away a lot of brush, a up along there. I think it was a week they were up there, just doing brush cutting. All the drains in Dunville has been cleaned up. Coming up Churchside Hill has been, that's, people can walk on that again. There is still some work to do on Churchside Hill. There is some water you've seen there. There's still something to go back and have a look at that to clean that up. But, we've been working now since probably we're in the 5th week. So there's some really good value for the money that we received and doing stuff. And every town is getting hit. There's been Southeast, there's been work in Churchside, there's been work in Dunville. I believe there's some work in Freshwater with some sewer drainage. So everybody trying to get every community, get everything taken care of. So we're still not finished. So there's still more work on that. We're talking about getting maybe a mulcher for the brush cutting that we're doing to start chipping that stuff away instead of sending it out. We probably can use it for mulching. And that is pretty well it. So.
Thank you, Deputy. I'd like to just add with the permits, town of Placentia, there's been consideration has been given to town of Placentia. We've recognized that there's a lot of development actually occurring in the town of Placentia without the necessary permits in place. We have a municipal enforcement officer. There's actually forms have been created. The municipal enforcement officer has identified, and the council has identified development without the necessary permits. If you're building a fence or a patio or a shed or an addition to your house or residence or commercial renovations, all require permits from the town of Placentia, and there's a process to follow. In the upcoming weeks, you're going to see that people are going to receive letters, you're going to receive notification of permits and development occurring without the necessary permits. We don't condone this. It's a process in place, and we're actually looking to ensure that compliance is done. So you're going to see that, yes, there's going to be some action taken. If you're concerned about a permit, if you require a permit off, by all means, contact the town office here, contact somebody, the public works superintendent, or individuals of staff. Somebody will get back to you, and outline exactly, yes, if a permit is required. The tracking system in the work order system, previously it was unsure if you had a call or a message. If somebody called in the town of Placentia, you didn't know where it went to, if it was actually fell on deaf ears or where the action was taken. With the new work order system, anybody that calls in looking for a complaint or concern, such as maybe a sign is missing here, or a pothole needs to be done here, whatever the concern would be, there's a tracking method now. The office staff will have it. It's forwarded to the appropriate department to make the necessary correction or action. So the calls will be being tracked, and certainly should be able to be managed from the council to see that if the action is being done. The DOT project was, as outlined from the last meeting, the contribution from the provincial government, Department of Transportation, and Minister Barker was greatly appreciated on Placentia, and yes, we're getting great reviews. We've got some brush cutting done, we've got some storm drainage done, we've got some shouldering done of the roads, we've got a good bit of work done for this money that we received from them, and there's positive concerns and expressed by a lot of residents out there about getting it good. So good job to Public Works Superintendent overseeing that and getting the project done. Certainly getting the value for our money, and we're getting much needed work done. So thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you to the Public Works Superintendent.
Do we have an idea of how many permits are in non-compliance?
There's been a lot of discussion about permits in non-compliance, from sheds to foundations to patios to a lot of different ones, to commercial renovations. Commercial renovations again need permit, and there's a permit fee to commercial renovations. The town is losing revenue just from commercial renovations itself. So there's a lot of different things there, and it's being identified, and in the next week you're going to actually, hopefully the Public Works Superintendent through the Municipal Enforcement Officer, you're going to see that the town action has been taken. The role and position of the Municipal Enforcement Officer is to ensure compliance with the town's regulations. So these individuals' role and function responsibility will be ensure that compliance is occurring.
So is that going to be tracked in the work order system, or is that a different system?
This will be actually notified all there of letters that have been done out. The Public Works Committee has a form letter, a standard letter. The letter states that you are being absorbed in construction or development of a fence without the necessary permits in place. and directing and advising the residents that the permit is required, development is to cease immediately until the permits are in place. That will then go through the committee. The committee will review it then. Obviously, there's a policy and a process in place. People continue to do it. We can do a stop work order permit. We can actually take further action. Okay, so.
Mayor, Mr. Mayor, currently right now, there is nothing in place that would track each one that's out listed and then a follow-up to make sure it's in compliance, but that is coming. That's something that's being worked on.
Thank you.
Right now, we got the templates in place. You know, everybody gets the same letter, will be a different letter, everybody, depending on what they're not in compliance on. So that would actually take care of that. And then the listing, we can follow up from council to see where the action is being taken by the enforcement officer.
But again, the understanding is that Public Works now has this template, it's ready. So this week, it's ready now that the committee has met, the templates have been done, and the form letters is actually now in compliance. And the process has been in place, it's just that it was sitting idly by. And now we're going to take action and move forward.
Thank you.
Any further concerns? No? Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Move on to the next report. Public Safety Committee.
Do we want to wait for Councillor Collins for that one, or do you want?
No, you are on the committee as well.
Yeah.
Who else is on the committee with Public Safety?
Councillor.
Councillor Power, you are on the committee. You can deliver the report. Sorry, I also meant to acknowledge that Councillor Hines is not here tonight. She has another engagement of important matters with council, and Councillor Collins is, Llewellyn Collins, she has a work commitment. Obviously, she has to work, and she's not being here tonight. So I do apologise for both of them for not being able to make the meeting today, but it's due to other matters. Thank you. Councillor Collins Power.
So our Public Safety Committee met on October 3rd, and in attendance was the chair, Councillor Collins, Councillor Hines, and myself were in attendance, along with Mary Green, and our recorder was Catherine Smith. We, as usual, reported the stats from our radar signs that are, we didn't have any recommendations, I guess I should say first, just a report. We reviewed stats from the radar signs, and as you know, there's two been installed, I think, since last meeting, I believe. One is at, well, both on Route 100, one near Argentia and one at the, as you enter Dumbbell. So we looked over those stats, and of course, surprised, but not surprised, there was a lot of violations on there. Just some stats related to that speed radar position when leaving Argentia had the average of 5,379 vehicles a week, and that was during the week of August 29th to September 23rd, and approximately 86% of those vehicles were in violation of speeding. Radar 2, which is positioned as you're coming to Dunville, where you'll see the 50-km/h sign, the average of the vehicles there was 7886. At the same period, there was 85% being in violation of speeding. Of course, that report is passed on to the RCMP for review. I know myself personally from traveling that highway, the RCMP are definitely, there's a presence there. I see them quite often out, especially at the end of Dunville. A copy has been also submitted to the contractor STP for safety awareness to their employees at their next safety meeting at the Husky site. We circulated the MEO report, and there was some items in there with regard to, there's a couple items missed. There's some school zone signs that have been installed in Dunville, and also a school crossing sign on Churchill Avenue will be moved in closer to the sidewalk. There's also, we are looking at relocating the speed radar sign on Harbour Drive up to Lance Path. Let's see, and also we looked at the fire department call-out report, and the fire chief reported 2 call-outs. One was a motor vehicle accident, and one was a car overturned into water. There is a Community Waste Reduction Diversion Program 2018. MMSB has proposals. They're asking for proposals from communities to reduce waste, reuse, and recycle. There is $10,000 available in funding for communities who are successful in that initiative, and deadline is December 3rd. So I'm just going to look at that, do some ideas thrown out there, and see if we can come up with something for the town to be able to avail of some of that funding for to get people, you know, more into recycling, and so hopefully we can get something together for that proposal.
It'd be really great and a good initiative from the committee to actually try to reduce, reuse or recycle. Obviously, the more we can cut back, the better it would be for all. Excuse me.
So that was really all that we have on that report.
The other part would be is that the bulk garbage collection is for October 24, 2018. So we're encouraging people that, you know, if they do, Councillor Fitzpatrick, this is just a notification, but I'm not sure if you'll have to read. There's no decision or discussion, right? But it's only a discussion, just advising people that our bulk collection is October 24, 2018 for waste collection. Creosote blocks or other waste that you may have. We encourage the residents, anybody to have this creosote blocks, the fishing nets that are looking to disposal. This one time we asked them to contact the town hall. We're trying to finalise a list about the materials that we have to be able to dispose of this as well. So we encourage you, get a hold of the town of Placentia. In the radar stats, back to the radar stats for the safety report, obviously we've had 2 new signs, one put up on the entrance into Dublin and one put at the entrance to Dublin coming from Argentia. Those stats are providing very valuable information. It's telling you the traffic flows, the number of vehicles that are going there, the times of the flows, and such as speeding, so on and so forth. Husky's project has a safety committee established in Argentia. I'm as a member of the committee. Discussion has ensued around this whole aspect of the speeding, you know, along this Route 100 case, you know, associated with Husky and as well as associated with other, you know, not so much all of Husky. Again, concern is going to be there. There's going to be an initiative, a joint initiative through discussion with Husky. They're agreeing that yes, they will be promoting safe driving at their toolbox meetings. The RCMP is going to be reviewing the matter of the information as well. They're going to be upping their speed traps, I guess you could call them, or the monitoring of the sites during what's identified as the peak times and times when the most speeders are there. So yes, we're attempting to try to curb the speeding as much as we can, try to get that road safe and control for use for everybody, make sure we have a safe place to walk, drive, travel. So there is some initiatives out there, and again, yes, hopefully, everything we will get things under control. The school zone signs have been installed in Dublin, which we've identified. So those signs have been in Dublin because along Route 100 is actually the school zone area, and we need to encourage and get some more signage put there for the school zones. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor
Mr. Mayor, I do have a couple questions. But one comment first. This evening when I went coming from Argentia, I did notice that the radar sign coming from Argentia wasn't operational. So
Was not operational?
no, it didn't. It was not. And I meant to say that when I came here this evening.
Okay, thank you.
The other thing, I just got a couple of questions. Location in Bonds Path, where will the new radar sign be located to?
I'm not sure. I guess the committee will make the decision and somewhere up there. I think that's right. If you have any,
I was just wondering if it's the location in Bonds Path has been identified.
I'm not sure. I guess just go through the committee. This one sign is here is going to actually be a portable sign, so you know, through the public works superintendent is going to be identified in there. If you have any concerns, feel free to contact him. Any suggestions it could be offered there. Okay?
It's still the one on the Harbor Drive, right? Is that?
Yes.
Is that all the portable sign?
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, but now it's portable that we can take it now and we can move it. We put it on Harbour Drive due to the traffic direction being rechanged there when we were at the Route 100, the water line.
Well, that's where the Bonds Path was identified.
Yes.
We talked about somewhere along there.
Okay.
Past the regatta, or exactly, past the regatta.
Again, I don't think we're gonna
Yeah,
settle
we
it
can
here tonight,
confirm
so if
that.
there's any questions, concerns, by all means, get a hold of Mr. Green and he'll take your concerns into consideration and they'll come up with a.
And the
site
other
relocation.
question that I had is around, when we talk about violation of speeding, is there a range in which that happens? Or is it, if you're not 50 on the dot, then anything over 50?
That is the concern about the data that this was discussed at the safety meeting that I was into with the Husky site. And, you know, if the sign is set at, you know, the speed is set at 50, and if you're doing 51, are we registering that as a speeder? whereas technically, 50 to 51 isn't a speeder. So the detail and the data is there, that obviously the safety committee to review this. The RCMP don't normally give a ticket unless you're 20 over. So speeding technically probably would be the 50 kilometer zone, wouldn't be until you're 65 or 70 over the speed limit. So the stats, again, if the numbers, if we're using them from 51 as a speeder, I'm not really sure because I haven't reviewed the stats.
That report does have listings of different speeds and different times, and we could, as a committee, could pull out the ones that are, say, over 70 or over.
So I'm looking at the percentages there, and I'm wondering, is the 86% anyone that's 51 and over, if that's the speed limit what it's set at, or is there a range of anything over 59, 60?
And that's the, at the safety committee where we spoke, we were actually looking at the higher levels and trying to determine when the higher speeders. So maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, people trying to get to work. Maybe 6 o'clock in the morning, we're trying to people get off work. So we're trying to identify the higher occurrences and the higher, the exuberant rates of speed.
I understand that, but I'm asking around the question around.
I'm not sure Councillor Fitzpatrick can get it, right?
So what happens with the statistics? So it will give you a 51 to 60, and the amount of people that actually sped in that range. It will give you from 60, take the 60 to the 70, and give you the number of people in that range. It'll give you the 70 up, and it'll take it from there. Also, what it will do is give you the number of people that sped at different speeds and the times. So you can actually do, the statistics are there. Say if you want to leave out 51 to 60, to break it down and know the percentage based on that.
Okay, so the 86% would be all speeders.
That would be anything over 50, and then you can break it down from there. The statistics allow you to break it down into finer detail, and that can be broke down. The committee can actually do that.
So there's a lot of valuable information there that, yes, somebody should get it, and the RCMP, the information will be passed out to the RCMP, and again, yes, to try to curb and control and monitor it at these areas and times that we determine, yes, or the science determine the traffic flows and the violators. Okay, take that up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Next committee report, Culture and Tourism Committee report.
The Culture and Tourism Committee met on October 3rd, and in attendance were Jane Hines, Councillor Jane Hines as chair, Councillor Noel Collins, and I was there. Rhonda Power, Manager of Tourism, Marketing and Communications, and Catherine Smith as recorder. And this following discussions. Voices about 50 update. The event was a success with many great reviews. The financial debriefing of the event was circulated for review, which indicated that it stayed within budget. So there was a surplus amount of $4,345.08, with possible $3,000 to be donated to Laval for technology upgrades. And a formal letter will be sent to SDP and Husky for a donation towards the same. Farmers Market has been very successful. A future venue will be the Legion and is scheduled for October the 13th to 27th, November 17th, and December 1st. And it was stated that the Chamber of Commerce is interested in a partnership with the market, and Darrell Clark will approach the organizers to explore that possibility. The craft fair, the committee decided not to hold a craft fair this year due to the number of farmers markets. So the craft concessioners will be notified so they can participate in the farmers market instead. Trunk or treat is scheduled for Sunday, October the 28th from 6:30 to 7:30. And the manager has created a poster which will be sent to businesses and residents for participation in that. This year's legendary Coast Annual General Meeting is taking place October the 17th in Marystown, and that's the one that Councillor Hines is attending. This year they're having a re-election of directors, and Councillor Hines, who has been regional director of the Cape Shore for the past 2 years, will be nominated for that role again this year. Hospitality Newfoundland session is scheduled for November 1st in St. John's. Information on this event was circulated and discussed, and the manager and possibly Councillor Collins will both attend if available. The wayfinding project official approval is expected very soon. Bravo campaign, the manager sent a letter to businesses for donations and get some response. Information on the project will be advised on social media for the public again. Ideas for fundraising were discussed, and it was suggested to get a sketch drafted for visual stimulation. A meeting with the Grotto Committee will be scheduled. The Irish, the manager has once again been approached from a representative in Ireland regarding twinning, and the committee endorsed the notion of developing a relationship, and it was discussed to include funding for this in the next year's budget. Castle Hill, in the Mayor's absence, acting CAO Mary Green met with Glenn Keogh, Parks Canada on August 29th to discuss the following issues regarding Castle Hill. It was discussed that there is a lack of signage on provincial roads, and Mr. Keogh stated that the issue is being addressed in the House, and Parks Canada will work with the province to ensure signage is installed. Recognition of the 50th commemorative anniversary of Castle Hill was discussed. In lieu of the conversation, the 50th event was a success, with the cannons being fired off every hour. There were a variety of activities on Castle Hill and a beautiful display of fireworks. Events were well attended by residents and visitors. And the hours of operation were also discussed, as the park closed before the ferry service had ended. And as a result, gates remained open for an extended period so visitors could have access to the site. The manager drafted a proposal budget for 2019, which was reviewed and discussed, and a submission will be sent to finance for the upcoming budget.
Thank you, Councillor Speed. A couple of points on the 50th commemorative anniversary of Castle Hill. I found out after the event that, the mayor was invited, and I was actually invited to attend, and I was going to be able to shoot off one of the cannons. I certainly would have took in such an event. However, notification and communication never got through, and I missed the very important event. Trunk or treat, it's good to see that, yes, again, we're going to do the trunk or treat again. October the 28th from 6:30 to 7:30. It'd be nice to make sure we get it out to people, the residents out there. The children certainly enjoyed such an event. The other part is signage. And the signage at the convention, I've spoke with some of the signage crowd, and I've asked some staff to review the possibility of some signage for the upcoming budget. The signage, most people are getting the information and the correspondence and communication through the town, through the Facebook or their web page and so on. However, we're missing a lot of people there that don't avail or don't be continuous users. And some places you'll see those signage, like if you go down Kenmount Road, the big large screen TV with the signs, last whatever the case. It would be nice for us to have a sign, something like every event, the special events, something possibly located by Fort Frederick or in a location in town. And this signage could be such as October 28th, trunk and treat, just getting messages out through there. So I'll ask the Tourism Culture Committee, Communication Committee, put that on your agenda there to try to come up with something for a signage there as another means of communicating to the residents of the town activities that we want them to participate and be known about. Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Collins. Good evening. This report, the Recreation Committee report.
It suits chairs too long. I'll turn off the phone too.
Recreation Committee report.
Nice and warm. Thank you.
The Recreation Committee met on October the 1st, and in attendance was myself as chair, Councillor Collins Power, Manager of Recreation and Community Programming, and Ms. Catherine Smith was the recorder. Deputy Pearson was at the province at the time. We have two suggestions. One was around recommending to council that the town continue to partner with PATA for the 2018 summer program, whilst exploring enhancement of program for next year. And we've also referred to the Finance Committee to review the recreation budget to allocate another account to pay for necessary arena directives issued by Service NL that is presently out of our budget. We met with the representatives of Placentia Development Association and got a report on the summer recreation program. Overall, the program went very well. They provided a report to us outlining the highlights and the success of the 7-week program. There was one summer program coordinator employed for 12 weeks. and we had 18 students, or they had 18 students employed for a 7-week program. And it was a total cost savings actually to the town of over $50,000 by allowing that program to be ran through Placentia Development Association. 144 children were registered. There was no incidents during the program. For the 2019 program, if we're continuing to go down this road, there's a couple of suggestions that they had highlighted. One was a movable sign of children at play around the Placentia ball field, so that vehicles coming could be more aware of children in the area, and an additional resources for water activity equipment, and some suggested indoor activity purchases as well, which will be all looked at if we continue to go for the 2019 the same way as last year. One of the other pieces that they had identified was colored shirts for the children. When they were on field outings, if all the children weren't wearing the same color and things like that, it became very difficult to identify the children on field trips, and that would be another suggestion. So they are actually going to be asking for suggestions and ideas towards next year's program of the parents and the guardians. And that's all I have to report on the summer recreation program. I don't know if anybody has any questions around the summer recreation program.
No, I'd like to comment as well. 144 children, and yes, I heard good reviews about the program. Pat had done an exceptional job. And the partnership, actually, through the partnership, the savings of $50,000 from the program was outlined as well. So we had an exceptional program, and we saved $50,000, in doing so in partnership with Pat. So it was certainly well done and well achieved. Obviously, some of the questions and concerns or wish lists you may have, council, your committee, when we get into the budget now again for 2019, we'll give consideration of what we can do and add or increase or decrease, whatever it is in the budget process. Bearing in mind that yes, the budget process is soon starting again. Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick.
And just some other updates is that the arena is operational now as of this week. All directives have been completed at the arena, and I would like to commend the arena staff as well as the manager of recreation and community programming for the exceptional level of work that they have done on the arena in meeting these directives. And the Take Charge program, we have the LED lights installed. There's 32 of them, and we're anticipating to receive back approximately somewhere in the vicinity of $2,800 credit to the lighting account at the arena. Dugouts we already spoke about. Splash pad is still in discussion with the Recreation Committee. So we are still working through some of the issues that have been identified, and hopefully at the next meeting, we'll have more concrete information on that. And seasonal worker and the coach for the arena already has been identified. Trunk or treat has been talked about, and the Recreation Advisory Committee held the first meeting on October the 3rd. And that was just a preliminary meeting of the focus direction, and just to inform the individuals who are around the table on any grants that are available, and also identifying additional individuals that should be invited to the advisory committee. The next meeting will be focused on our budget and preparing for the budget of council. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Next,
Question. I wasn't there, so I just question, equipment upstairs, is there anything on that or not?
There is, hopefully by mid-November.
So, which would be some equipment installed for exercise?
Yes.
okay, so maybe Councillor Fitzpatrick, you can just let the viewing audience, if people know that the town has
So
the
the
issue
town-
that we are pursuing.
So the town has been soliciting some equipment for upstairs in the arena, and where the karate section takes place. So in the new part, I'll call it the part over the ice. Some equipment has been secured and it's being finalized. So hopefully by the middle of November, there will be a space. It's not going to be a full-fledged gym, but it is a start to some of the things that residents have been asking for around recreation, around exercise equipment.
I have a question. So
Thank you.
Is
Councillor
it
Speak.
open for walking up there now? Like, let people walk up?
The arena's still
The
open.
arena-
Once it's
the
open,
arena's
it's open
open.
for walking.
For walking.
Yes, anybody who looks to walk down, once the arena's open, yes, the walkers are quite welcome. Okay, thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick. Next report, community engagement and communications report.
Our committee met on October 3rd, and in attendance was myself as chair and Councillor Luella Collins. Councillor Jamie Fitzpatrick was unable to attend with previous commitments. And we had our manager of tourism, marketing, and communications, Ron Power, and our recorder was Catherine Smith. We reviewed our budget as we do at the beginning of each meeting. And traffic calming stats, as we discussed, were talked about at our meeting. The Placentia Bay Industrial Showcase was updated. That took place back in September, and it was a successful event with good reviews. And the manager, Ms. Power, was involved with the committee and helped in making their pamphlet. It was very informative and well organized. The Mayor's March, which we talked about, was held on September 17th, and $782 was raised for the Heart and Stroke Foundation. And this year, our march focused on women's health. We'd like to, and the committee thanked Dr. Power for attending and providing a brief update to us on heart stroke and signs and symptoms of that. We had our Special Olympians here this evening for a presentation and congratulations prior to our meeting. Trunk or treat, as we talked about, was scheduled for the 28th. Our budget consultation is scheduled for October 30th. November the 8th is our public input session. And we have a form that will be going online to get feedback from our residents. And we're just in the process of finalizing some of the format of that, and that'll go up hopefully this week for our residents. I got the 28th, I thought it was November 8th. I'm sorry. It is November 8th, yeah. And then we discussed our budget, and we have our submissions, so I think at this point, into the manager of finance, and our next meeting is, is the 8th at 7. Our next community, I don't know, consultation. Yeah. Is our consultation meeting, and the 28th is when we will have our budget.
So the public consultation next meeting is, wait,
The 8th of
November
November. 8th of November at 7. Yeah.
thank you.
Yes. And that's it. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Carr. There's been some correspondence. Any questions on the correspondence received? Just note the cannabis legislation is in effect, I guess, tomorrow, after 12 o'clock tonight, so the town of Placentia has to come up with some policies, procedures, and practices out there in dealing with the legislation that's going to be forthcoming in the very near future. Sobeys have going to be rebranding to Foodland. There's going to be discussions further on that. I won't get into it now if we are. Sit there. They give us notification that they're going to rebrand from Sobeys to Foodland. Boil water advisory for fresh water. It's, that wasn't discussed. The town has been on a boil water advisory because Argentia and fresh water. The government has actually placed us on a boil water advisory. We are doing some changes to the system, trying to change the chlorination in the freshwater system to try to give it that. We're actually putting a booster pump in freshwater, so we don't need to chlorinate freshwater, hopefully as heavily as it is. People have been complaining about chlorine in freshwater. But with the usage of the water in Husky, Now, it is having a little bit of an effect there on this, and the government came and gave us a ball order. After 3 consecutive tests, the ball order will be lifted. I'm not sure if there's any further update on that. What the status is on the ball order?
I believe one was supposed to be, there's 2 on the week, could be lifted as possibly early as Friday, I believe Wednesday and Thursday, or Tuesday and Thursday. Tomorrow, today and Thursday, right? Yeah. So there was a test on today, there will be a test on tomorrow, and if 2 then comes back fine, then the ball order will be lifted, correct?
Okay, so we have 2 satisfactory tests, 1 third test, satisfactory of chlorine results. The ball order will be lifted, so bear with us, but the town is also looking at some changes on there to prevent some occurrences in the future. Another phase of the double water line has been ready. It's been prepared by the engineers, Progressive Engineering, and it's ready now to be sent out to the government for tendering. We were hoping to get that out earlier for September, to have the process all done and in place prior to this year. It looks like it's hopefully going to be tendered out this year, and again, with an early start for the spring for construction. So that's going to aid us there. The deputy spoke about earlier the connection of the ponds from Clark's Pond, the Gull Pond, Barn Ponds into the Gulf into Clark's Pond. That's being looked at as well. We have approximately $2 million now in this other phase of capital works. The engineering is being performed, ready to be sent to government, hopefully for approval to get through the tender very soon.
And actually, just a quick note, there was more calls for more tenders that came out this week from the provincial government for more funding that will be heavily applied to by December 3rd, so we will be applying for more funding for the water under that also.
Yes, there's other avenues. There's a lot of government monies out there now that we're actually going to pursue further funding.
So Mayor, just for clarification, what's the pieces that we're hoping to do with
in this next phase, we're going to connect where they started off the other line. We're going to actually connect back to the Clark's Pond pump house. Depending on the value of the contract received here, the next step will be upgrade the Clark's Pond pump house. And then the other phase will be to connect the pond so that we have a supply issue there. I think, that we certainly sure we're moving positively in a good direction. And, we're anticipating something very soon on this as well. Any other questions? The other point I'd like to bring out is that we have some concern with Eastern Health is selling some houses in the area there as well that the doctors were formerly using. If doctors were staying in Placentia area, they actually availed of the houses, and it's understanding that the houses now may be up for sale or something there. We have a concern with this as well. Okay. So certainly going to explore that more. Get a report back to council. Any other questions? Concerns? Councilor Collins.
Just one was any damages around town today from the storm. Well, hopefully it wasn't. Okay. Also, I got a concern about the trucks using the main road at Placentia in the night, coming down the road there along the mountain guards. All hours of the night, I'm getting a lot of complaints on it. And I've asked to see if there's some way we could handle it, but I think maybe what we want to do is probably call highway enforcement out or something to get some of these trucks to stop using the road at night. I mean, the weight for one, the weight on the road and the wear and the tear. And they're using it all hours of the night. It's not like 9, 10 o'clock. It's right through the night.
I think we spoke about that before, and actually the signage, we should actually get some really good signage to notify by the game. Maybe the public works superintendent can send out a reminder to the contractors, the locals. It's not always the locals, but actually we can start there and acknowledge that no, there's no truck traffic, through the Prince William Drive, Blackhouse Road, and it's Veterans Road that we have to use.
And our enforcement officer really could be stopping, just politely remind them. It's not to stop to get a ticket or anything like that, it's just politely remind them not to use the road.
So I guess our public works superintendent will come up with some measures to try to prevent that problem from continuing. Anything else, Councillor? Thank you. Councillor Fitzpatrick.
The only addition I got is, you congratulated a number of individuals with respect to recreation, and I just want to highlight for Glenn and to play with Team Newfoundland Labrador and participated in the 22nd Annual Atlantic Cup Challenge. And they were successful in obtaining silver on October 8th. So I just want to send a congratulations to her and our team.
Thank you, Councillor Fitzpatrick, and it's not done on my behalf, actually, on that into the sports fanatics out there. I rely on, for the sports news, our recreation, Mr. Point. So obviously, somebody else missed it there, but certainly sure, congratulations to this group for her accomplishments as well. Councillor or Deputy Mayor.
For me, just a couple of things. I guess just want to thank the public works and temporary workers. It's been a long season from when we started early in the year right up until now, continuing to do the DOT work. I'd just like to thank everybody for their time and effort and what they put into it, and you can certainly see the improvements around the town for that. The other thing I want to acknowledge that got some feedback on it. I want to acknowledge that the assessments have gone out, and there's mixed reactions, of course, as always. Some have gone up and some have gone down. You know, like you said, there's an appeal process in place if anybody feels that their property is over assessed. You know, so there is a process in place. I mean, if anybody needs help on how to get to that process, I mean, certainly anybody can, around the councillor or someone at council can certainly point in the right direction. So it's never good when your assessment goes up or down. So just want to acknowledge that, you know, we are aware of it, and you know, we are budgeting coming up. But overall, that housing was actually down this year. So the housing was projected, the overall housing in our community, our revenue projections were down based on last year's assessment and the mill rates.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Speaking.
I just want to add that I attended a meeting at the Placentia Library last week, and it had to do with Newfoundland Labrador housing and homelessness. And it was, I don't know if it was well advertised because there wasn't a big crowd there. There was 6 and 2 people representing Labrador Housing from St. John's. But they're going to have other meetings and going to try to form what they call a CAB, but I think they're talking about is a community awareness board. Right? And they are planning another meeting in the near future and probably a luncheon, so maybe not too long.
Okay, good. I think something like that there, you know, if the information they're going to be doing such as sessions to pigtail off the town's website, the town that correspond with the towns, and we could actually promote it through our sources as well as we can. And hopefully, you know, get some concern out there, get some, you know, something on the move there for something that's an issue that's very well is in the town right now, and that, you know, could increase as well, for sure. Okay. Okay. Councillor Collins Power.
I was going to, also as Deputy Mayor mentioned about the appeal, about the assessments, you certainly can appeal it. I don't know, my past life, I was involved in Alberta, so it's a process you certainly can avail of. You don't feel it there, and like you said, any of us can help out with that, I'm sure. We won't be meeting before November 11th, but just keep that in mind. I'm sure there'll be a ceremony again this year at the Memorial here on November 11th, so that's something to keep in mind coming up. And we talked to a trunk or treat, and yeah, November the 8th is our consultation for anybody who's interested in attending to give us their feedback on the budget.
Okay, for sure. So November 8th, feedback on the budget.
And we also have one online and by this week.
The form will be online, okay? And just to clarify, because there's been some discussion about the assessment and the process, you know, people probably are still confused. Municipal assessment agency sets the values of your property. Town of Placentia does not set the value of the property. Municipal assessment agency, through Newfoundland Labrador, they determine the value of the property. Town of Placentia sets the mill rate, which is the tax value against the property of the value of your property. If you have an assessment and you don't agree with it, you have a right to be able to appeal your assessment to the municipal assessment agency. Obviously, tonight we've appointed a commissioner that deals with the assessments. There's a process in place. There's a form there that you wish to appeal. There's a hearing, so on and so forth. You can go to the hearing, you may end up getting your assessment lower, or you may end up getting your assessment stay the same, or in some cases, it may have even risen the double. Again, it's nothing that the town of Placentia, we're not responsible for the values or the assessment. If anybody's looking for questions or clarification how to do it, I'm certainly sure the town staff, if you contact them over here, they'll be willing to support and help you and give you in the right direction. So if anybody get any concerns, by all means, contact the town, we'll advise you what to do or how to do it. We can't do your assessment, but put you in the right direction. Okay, any other questions? Okay, here we go. Call the motion to adjourn. So moved, Councillor Fitzpatrick, second by Deputy Mayor. All in favour? Meeting adjourned.